Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. This is a private road discussion about the tariffs, what Trump's doing, and the end of the world as we know it. Gold hit by surprise U.S. tariffs, unleashing new turmoil. What I find interesting about this basically is I believe it's a setup so that the CME, who runs the COMEX, can declare a force majeure, meaning that they can just stop all contracts and just settle where they are, or even cancel contracts. I'll get to that in a second. There's hints of that now. Let me read this part to you. Futures in New York, which are backed by bars shipped from Switzerland and other key trading refining hubs, surged to a record. Traders, analysts, and executives across the industry that understood the bars would be exempt from reciprocal tariffs enacted by President Trump, such as a 39% levy on Swiss goods. But when a gold refiner in Switzerland asked about it, U.S. Customs and Border Protection clarified that 1 kilogram and 100-ounce gold bars are subject to levies, according to the letter from the agency. The decision, if it remains in place, has sweeping implications for the flow of bullion around the world and potentially for the smooth functioning of the U.S. futures contract, which is the COMEX. And I guarantee you this will cover silver as well. Gold's role as financial asset in global currency sets it apart from other commodities like copper that have been roiled by tariffs, and traders said that on Friday that shipments were freezing up in response to the shock news. In the quote, in the long run, the existence of U.S. tariffs on deliverable gold products raises the question on the role of futures trading in the U.S. I've long said we're not going to know the true price of silver and gold until the COMEX shuts down. The futures and options is what is used to rig the price. So all this news comes out and the price doesn't go anywhere, but the volumes go through the roof, which just proves it is absolutely 100% the derivative contract trading back and forth to each other that determines price, not the amount of physical available or even what's going on. Here's something really interesting. Our friends over at Future Forecasting Group, Dick Allgaier, they did a blind reading on gold. March timeframe, I think it was. Listen to what Dick Allgaier had to say about this.
Deal for 20 cents on the dollar. Debt ceiling drastic measures. Outside the box plan to deal with debt. Monetize assets. Back with gold and silver. Back with energy assets. A crypto repository, some kind of freeze, financial martial law. I saw troops lined up on U.S. soil, some form of martial law or show of force to prevent possible violence. This will be surprising and unexpected, some dramatic announcement to back bonds.
So basically, that's kind of what is going on right now. Something's going on with gold. Something's going on with cryptos after it was just announced that they are, let me get to where that is, going to be, crazy enough, surprise, surprise, added to private equity. You can, in your 401ks, your retirement accounts, you're going to be able to get crypto, which includes the stable coins and all that. Again, I've been saying this for a long time. The integration of cryptos and the current financial system is the worst possible thing for cryptos. I think it's too late. I think if either one goes down, you're going to see the other one crash into the shitter if this is fully implemented. Just think about it. You know, all you crypto people who are like, oh, it's all about the breaking away from the unbacked fiat monetary system and the central banks, and then everybody's jumping into XRP and stable coins and cheering them on like it's a good thing. It's the worst possible thing for cryptos. All you're doing is integrating the worst system in the world that you had to invent cryptos to get around, and you're integrating cryptos into that system such that when JP Morgan Chase, for example, goes down with their 55 trillion in derivatives, it takes down cryptos as well. And the whole system is in the shitter. I hope this, and I know why Trump's doing this. He knows the whole system's coming down. Now, the way I've been yelling about how you have to position yourself is get out of third-party holding your stuff. Get your assets in your own possession. Wait for the crash. Wait for markets to restart. It might be 2 days. It might be 2 years before we know the price of gold, silver, and cryptos. But then again, I think it'll be pretty quick, because this is not something that's going to come out of the blue. This has been planned for over 100 years. And I do think the United States has a hell of a lot of gold. A hell of a lot of gold. Lots more than, even they've said has been mined all this time. And I've shown this many times, proven it time and time again. Anyway, back to where we were with Dick Allgaier. Yes, they predicted something like this, and they even predicted Trump. Here's this: gold bar futures rise after report Trump has placed tariffs on gold bars. And this makes the news. It rose 0.9%. Silver barely moved. Barely moved. I mean, look at silver. It's just silver and gold. They're basically being held by the derivative contract, just held in place. Look at this. This is the silver derivative contract for the 7th, for yesterday. A massive jump, tripling the size of volume, and it doesn't move. That's 700 million electronic blips traded back and forth, tripling the volume, and the price of silver doesn't move. That's the power and control of futures and options. That's the control derivatives have on a price. So it will be the best thing in the world if this entire market is removed from the face of the earth. I think that is why the big commercials, as I've been saying for months, well, a little over a month, that every week the commercials aren't playing the same game. Normally they short into the rise. They aren't adding to their shorts into the rises. They're actually picking it off. They're trying to get rid of it, but they can't get out of it. That's where we are now. So what does it mean that Trump does this? It means they can do this, which I think has always been the plan of the commercial short. And this is from the COMEX, the CME, which is these are official rules from the COMEX, rules related to declarations of force majeure. Pending all relevant regulatory review periods, effective May 18th, 2012, CME, CBOT, NYMEX, and the COMEX will adopt harmonized definition of force majeure that will be incorporated into the definition section of the CME, CBOT, NYMEX rulebook. As a result of adopting a harmonized definition term, each exchange will also adopt a series of conforming revisions to various rules. The primary purpose of the changes is to ensure the procedures and decision-making authority with respect to the declaration of force majeure are centralized and streamlined so that they can say whatever the hell they want. And here's the definition. For purposes of the CME Group Exchange's rules, force majeure is any circumstance which is beyond the control of the buyer or the seller and precludes either party from making or taking delivery of product, or precludes the exchange from determining a final settlement as provided for in the exchange rules. The new definition provides a non-exhaustive list of such circumstances, which can include, and here it is, an act of God, a strike, a lockout, a blockage, an embargo, a government action, that's what we have, or terrorist activity. And then decision-making authority with respect to declarations of force majeure will be vested in the chief executive officer, the president or chief operating officer, or their delegate, consistent with the rules provisions. Further on, it says, if a determination is made by the chief executive officer, chairman, chief operating officer, or chief regulatory officer, or their delegate, that delivery or final settlement of any contract cannot be completed as a result of force majeure, they shall take such action as they deem necessary under the circumstances, and their decision shall be binding upon all parties. The exchange shall notify the CFTC, that's the regulator, of the implementation, modification, or termination of any action taken pursuant to this rule. It shall be the duty of the clearing members and the clearing members, and regular facilities to notify the exchange of the circumstances that may give rise to declaration of force majeure. Basically, all it takes is the CEO saying, this is a force majeure, this is out of the ordinary, all these contracts are canceled, or all these contracts need to be modified, or all these contracts are null and void. The whole thing just ends. To be determined later. And then it never ever opens up again. It is a fraud, it is a con, but it's a way out for them to get out of that massive short position. Which is, I think it's around 500 million ounces right now. We'll find out later today on the private road. Tomorrow I'll post something about that. Actually, I might just post this. I'm going to post this on the on YouTube because people need to know this shit. I do think that the COMEX is going to shut down this year, which would be huge because that's where they rigged the price. So how are we going to know the price? Probably Russia's starting up a silver exchange. Hong Kong has a silver exchange. Do we want the pricing in their hands? I don't know. Who knows? Everything's about to change. Again, really interesting right here. Traded settlement. 35 million ounces in one day, traded settlement. That's basically on the settlement date of the month, they're trading that. I'm not sure how that works. Check out Harvey Organ's blog for that. This is just another derivative of a derivative. And again, we are getting more and more contracts delivered in the middle of the month. It'll be interesting, so interesting next month, which is a silver delivery month, whether or not they can get the silver. It might be September that they declare force majeure, which would be really interesting. Okay, back to this real quick. Trump opening the door for crypto. Let me tell you, crypto lovers, and I am a crypto lover, and I think cryptos are definitely part of our future. There's a reason that the Trump administration, who orchestrated the 2021 crash, the U.S. government has orchestrated every crash in cryptos. These are not organic crashes. Every crypto on every exchange is rigged. And the head of the CFTC even admitted that the Trump administration rigged the 2021 crash. It could have been I think it was the 2017 crypto crash. And they said, well, we got to add derivatives to the cryptos or it'll just keep going up. They decided to do it and boom, it got slammed down. Of course, they added, other things. They sell off at appropriate times, massive amounts of cryptos. It's been going on since day one. Ultimately, they can just ban it, outlaw it. People would move out, take their business out of the United States, obviously, and other countries would win. So Trump's not doing that. But at the same time, he is linking the cryptos, intertwining the cryptos with the crippled financial system. I mean, this is why Bitcoin was made, because of the problem we have. And now we have all kinds of interlinked companies and tokens and stable coins and CBDCs potentially and everything in their mother. And we in the crypto world, we were always like, shit, when Tether dies, because it's such a fraud, it's going to tear apart the crypto market. And we were all pissed about that. And now we're going to have 10 tethers, 20 tethers. And it's not going to be, I don't think it'll be cryptos that'll be, even though it's full of fraud, that'll be the one to take it down. It'll be this jackass company or this jackass system. The only reason everything's holding together is the derivatives. Without derivatives, this would have been over in 1970 or 1964 when we went off the silver standard, or 71 when we went off the gold standard. Look what happened for the first quarter of this year. Derivative notional amounts increased in the first quarter of 2025 by $23.9 trillion. I mean, we knew it was a problem in 2007. Now it increases in one quarter an extra $23.9 trillion. Why isn't anybody jumping up and down? This is the end game. Blow that bubble so big that no one can recover. Intertwine the cryptos. so deeply into the old system that when the old system goes, the cryptos go as well. And then the question is what's left after it. And that'll be an interesting question. So here are the criminal banks that we know of. JP Morgan Chase is the largest rigger of silver. We've known that for a long time. Citibank is the third largest rigger of silver, and they're number 2. JP Morgan Chase has 55 trillion in derivatives and only 3.6 trillion in assets. Citibank has 53 trillion in derivatives and only 1.7 trillion in assets. And then the second largest silver rigger that got its tentacles in everybody else, all these other big banks, about 8 of them, is Bank of America with 25 trillion on 2.6 trillion in assets. I mean, talk about an accident waiting to happen. Any of the top 100 banks that have massive amounts of derivatives. But if you look at the weighting of this, it is insane that it's like a handful of banks decide the whole fate of everything, from the banking system to your retirement, to your checking account, your savings account, to the crypto exchanges, to the crypto markets. Everything is interlinked. They take JP Morgan out. Let's just say they release the Epstein files. Poof, there goes senior management at JP Morgan. Poof, there goes JP Morgan Chase. It is all coming to a head, my friends. So what can you do? You can get physical silver in your own possession. It's always been my number one. That's going to be the obvious one. There are some cryptos that will do well after the crash, but it won't be till after the crash. My number one is Theta, and especially Theta Fuel, because right now it's 22 to 1 when it should be 5 or 6 to 1, based on what's going on with Theta and the adoption of Theta into the whole AI infrastructure for the decentralized processing of AI. It's going to be unbelievable. Elon keeps hinting at it, and the Theta Labs guys aren't even like jumping up and down saying, look, Elon's saying exactly what we have invented is going to be the future. So definitely get your hands on T-Fuel in your own possession and then wait out the storm. For private road members, this is the last one I posted. Go check it out. It is different. I will be posting a private road discussion tomorrow morning about the situation with the Commitment of Traders report. And I'll guarantee you that the commercial shorts, again, did not add to their short position as silver rises. Because they aren't. This is a completely different game. And at some point, probably it's looking like September now, there's going to be force majeure declared on the COMEX. That way the bankers, it doesn't cause the bankers to go out, but it takes out their rigging mechanism. And then the LBMA is not really an exchange, it's an association, so nobody even looks at that. And all the pricing would go to China, if there is pricing after that. So lots of shit coming down the pike. Remember, assets in your own possession, nothing in the exchanges. Get everything in your own possession. That's all I got for you. Hey, this is Bix Weir, roadtoroad.com. You want to join the private road, go to roadtoroad.com, click on subscribe today. We're giving away 500 T-Fuel loaded on a paper wallet and mailed to your front door. You don't even have to know how to deal with cryptos, but it'll get your foot in the door of cryptos. And that's for a 1-year membership. Go check it out. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.